Good morning and welcome to the third Lotterywest webinar. My name is Lucy Reynolds and I will take you through today's session. I know most of you are in lockdown, so hopefully you're at home, you've got your laptop and get yourself comfortable because we're going to go through lots of information about Lotterywest today. But let me begin by taking this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we gather today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I respect their continuing culture and acknowledge their leaders past and present. And hopefully everything goes okay so people can still participate in the NAIDOC Week activities. Okay, so let's just go through some of the housekeeping and I can let you know what you need to do to make things a bit more comfortable and so you can get all the information that you need. So please turn your microphone and your cameras off so that we can't see or hear you. We will have an opportunity where you can ask questions, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. So we'll respond to as many of these as we can by the end of the presentation. If for some reason we can't get to your questions, then please feel free to email them. We'll give you the contact details at the end of this session. Please keep your questions quite generic because it will be difficult for us to answer in this forum any specific questions relating to your project. So we're going to move on to who we are. So as you all know, Lotterywest was established in 1933 as part of the Great Depression. We were set up to support and regulate the lottery and to support lots of charities. We are the only state-owned lottery in WA where all the profits are returned to the community through prizes or grants. And all of our grants are recommended by the Lottery Board and approved by the Minister for Lotterywest. So as you can see, there's a bit of a graph there. That's the 2020 data. So you can get this update on our website. So the COVID Relief Fund, as all of you know, we have been in the last 15 months and unfortunately these last few days as well. So the COVID Relief Fund was established where we could quickly respond to the needs of the community in WA at the start of the pandemic. We were able to focus on supporting the most vulnerable, building community and strengthening and adapting organisations. So through that period, we were able to really get out 159 million, which was distributed throughout Western Australia. We were able to support crisis and emergency relief, cancelled events, supporting organisations and sectors to be more resilient. And these programs ran, as you know, from March to June, and we've now completed this program. So applications are now closed and we today we'll be talking about our new grants program, which is the Community Investment Framework. So just to give you a little bit of background about Lotterywest, we came together in 2018 with Healthway to actually build on the synergies and enhance the benefits to the WA community. This bringing together was brought through the appointment of a common CEO, and this was the result of the state government's machinery of government changes, where the synergies and opportunities were available to increase efficiencies. So Healthway and Lotterywest operate as separate legal entities under their own legislation, and we are working together, we are located together on the same site, and we're trying to integrate more of the relevant aspects of our grant making to align where relevant to help deliver better outcomes and impact for the West Australian community. So, are you thinking about applying for a grant? So hopefully I'll be able to go through everything you need to know about who can apply and what we can support. So, who can we support? So your organisation needs to be an eligible entity. So to be eligible for a Lotterywest grant, you need to be a local government authority that undertakes public benevolent work or public works that's going to benefit the broad community. A not-for-profit organisation where none of your profits go to the owners or shareholders. And if your organisation is registered as a charity with the ACNC or as an incorporated association in WA, you are eligible to apply, although there are a few extra checks that we do if you're a trust, but please keep in contact with us and we have a team of people that look at these constitutions and trust documents. So we do need to check the not-for-profit status of other organisations individually. So what can we support? So we support grants that result in public benefit for the West Australian community. So we need a clear link to the outcomes that the grant will achieve and which in turn will work alongside our community investment framework. So this is a bit of a list. We always try and tell you what we don't support so you have a bit of an idea. So West Australian based, so we don't support any projects that happen outside of WA. We don't support any things that you've already done retrospectively. So if you've already purchased these items or done the project, we can't pay it retrospectively. We don't do the contingency costs or your ongoing organisational operational costs. Religious activities, although welfare and community service activities of faith-based organisations can be funded. Competitive sporting activities and medical research are also things that we don't support, and the GST component of items that are purchased by the grant, or projects or initiatives that should be funded by other government-funded arrangements. Okay, so we do have some grant limits. So the minimum grant that you can come to us for is $3,000. And there is a limit if your organisation is not registered for GST, so that's $15,000, or if you're unincorporated group, unless you're auspice, which you'll need to talk to us about that. Otherwise, there's no upper grant limit. We are a complementary grant maker, so please bear that in mind. We do add value to your projects, to your organisation's needs, and will contribute appropriately to the costs of initiatives. We do expect organisations to contribute as well, so whether that's with other stakeholders, financially or in kind. And these questions will be asked on the application. So how do we work? We work in a very community development approach. We encourage you always to talk to us before applying to make sure that your project aligns to our criteria and our priority areas. We are a developmental grant maker and we can help bring your ideas to reality. We can work with you around best fit. We can come out and visit you. We were hoping to go to the regions. We had 2 regional trips booked this week, and unfortunately, because of the lockdown, they had to be cancelled, but we were hoping to be in Geraldton and the Pilbara this week. So wherever possible, we try and get out to the regions as well. And we can also help link you with other stakeholders and partners whenever appropriate. So understanding our community investment framework. And so we will support grants that contribute towards achieving our priorities. So what is it? So the Lotterywest vision is to build a better and healthier WA together with our communities. So we have a community investment framework that gives us a roadmap and it's developed to support our vision. We have 5 priority areas. So these are inclusive, thriving communities, connected cultural communities experiences, protected, sustainable ecosystems, smart, innovative society, and active, healthy people. And we look to grants that contribute towards achieving these priorities in WA. So you'll see this community investment framework on our website. I'm not actually going to go through it now because you can all access it quite easily. It shows you the priority areas, and then it shows the outcomes that we will want you to work towards. So our priority areas will also be progressed through 3 grant programs. So as of yesterday, our portal was opened and our priority area or grant program area is the grassroots and community led that's now opened, and it will be open ongoing. So this is where you tell us what the needs of your community are, what the opportunities are, and we will work with you. Submission based at this stage. There's no EOIs and there's no grant rounds at this stage. So you can go onto the portal, log on, and see if your project aligns to the grassroots project. Okay. So the second one is developing, so the grassroots community-led project is really about you guys doing this stuff. Come to us with your ideas, work with us, get us to understand what it is that you're trying to achieve. We will let you know about our priorities and how they align. In terms of the other 2 that have been mentioned, developing solutions, that's where we will work with organisations strategically and proactively to achieve a lasting change. So at this stage, there are no applications for this grant program, and our team will be working directly with organisations aligned to the focus areas. And the third one is the Legacy Project. So the Legacy Project will enable Lotterywest funds to be built up over a period of time for an investment that will see hopefully a large scale project of significance that will be an awesome impact for the West Australian community. The Legacy Project or program will be driven by our board, and therefore this also is not open for applications at this stage. So, do you have an idea? Do you want to start preparing your application? The good news is it opened yesterday, so we have already a number of people that have applied, and this is some guidance to start preparing your application. This is what we call a logic model, where we ask groups to have a think about what it is you want to achieve. Our questions in our application form are actually based on this. So we want you to describe your project. What is it that you'll do? How will you do it? How will you achieve it? How do you know? And what is it you'll achieve? So this is a really useful tool that we've got for groups to start thinking about their project and how they can best align to our framework. So what we look for connection to our community investment framework. Okay, so it's about have a really good look at the framework, have a look at the priority areas, have a look at your project and how does it align. We want to see strong proposals that respond to the identified need of your community or an opportunity that you see in your community. We want to know who you're working with and who the other stakeholders are and who else is invested in this project with you. Also, we need you to evidence with a realistic budget. We need to know that it's value for money. We need to know that you're actually evidenced every bit that you need to make this work. And also we need to know, why is your organisation best placed to be the applicant? So you can call us through any of this, but these are the things that we look for when we work with you. Okay, so the portal's become live. You've got an idea, you can work through the program logic. Now, what do you need? So you need a number of documents. So it's really good to get all of these ready when you're about to lodge your application. So we do need to see your organisation's rules or constitution. We do need to see a budget and quotes for anything over the $3,000, or if they're really large projects, we need to see at least two quotes. your annual report and or your AGM minutes. Now a bank statement, and a lot of people ask why the bank statement. So the bank statement actually gives us your official name, the number, which is your BSB, and your accounts. Sometimes these are incorrectly transcribed into the application form, so the bank statement is really about giving us the evidence. We don't really want to see how much you've got in the bank. We need to see your financial statement, which are your financial records, and any other supporting documents that you might have. So you might have a project plan, you might have a business plan, you might have an operational plan or a strategic plan. Please attach those if they are relevant to the project that you're coming to us for, really important. And then referee details and a condition of grant. So the condition of grant is what we send you, and you need to have your legal signatories sign that, and then you return that to us. Applying. So this is our website. It's kind of been tweaked a bit, so it might be a little bit different to what you're seeing here, but you will get some information. Everything I'm telling you now will be on the website. Register and apply through our grants portal. You can actually see on the top of the right-hand screen how you can get in there, and that will give you entry. You can check what supporting documents we need. If you get stuck at any time, give us a call or email us. And I know our staff have been working really hard, even in lockdown, over the last couple of days, answering lots of questions around the portal as it's just opened. So you can see if you're a new grant customer to Lotterywest, you can register for first time on the right-hand side with your ABN number. And if you're an existing customer, then all you need to do is your login. And if you don't have your login, then you can go through the whole process or give us a call. Okay, so this is what happens. So you've actually submitted a grant, and this gives you an overall view of what our grant making process is. So you've got a grant proposal, you've worked with the community, you've given us a call, we've got an understanding of what you're doing and what you're proposing, you've got an understanding of what requirements we need. You've submitted then your grant application, which is the second one. We go through, work with you in a development way to understand more. We put it through an assessment process. It gets prepared for a recommendation. So then the approval, a recommendation is then endorsed by the board and then submitted to our minister for approval. So our minister at the moment is the Premier, so he will see every one of our grants. Once your grant has been approved, then our grants management team will help you through payments, variations, reporting, and any acquittal requirements that are required. And we really have this new awesome tool called the grant management tool that you can then do all of this through a link on the system. You can always ask us about that if that doesn't make sense. And then, of course, at the end of that, we really want to know, well, what were the outcomes? What was achieved? What was the learning? What was the improvement? And what was the broader benefit to WA? How did this help make WA better? So please be aware that from the time you submit to when you get an outcome is approximately 4 months. If you're running an event, please count 4 months from when you need the funds, not from when the event is. If there's any challenges, please give us a call. Okay, so hopefully that's given you some ideas. And so once your grant's been approved, then we look at how you can acknowledge it. So here's a few grants that we've been proud to support. So the first one you can see is Shelter WA, and that was around bringing a collective of agencies together to really look at homelessness and support people through the risk of being homeless. And that actually sat under our Inclusive Thriving Community program stream. The next one, which is a gorgeous photo of the children at the Shire of Yalgoo, and this was the Yalgoo Emu Festival, and it was about bringing people together through Aboriginal arts, culture and musical talent, and actually creating community cohesion. So that was the connected cultural experience stream. And then in the protected sustainable stream, we've done a grant to Native Ark, and that was for a vehicle and some equipment to support the rescue and rehabilitation and release of native wildlife. And then the Smart Innovative Society one went to Telethon Kids Institute, which was towards the Kids Discovery Centre at the Perth Children's Hospital, which provides an opportunity for those sick children to be able to come down there, maybe meet up with their brothers and sisters, and they do quite smart, innovative testing, and with our future scientists and doctors, and so that's a fun centre as well as being clever. So these are some ways that you can share the story. We have lots of opportunity for advertising and acknowledging our grants. We really want you to share that with other not-for-profits or your broader community. You can see there's a range of banners, signage, social media, decals. We can arrange for banners to be delivered to you and also collected, and we have this amazing online service that's available. So quick and easy. Okay, so question time. And just given the environment that we're in at the moment, I have a few questions, but you know, we'll probably take most of these via email perhaps, and maybe if you put your name and email address or just email us directly, then that will be great. All right, so the question around the time frame for lodgement, as I've explained, can take 4 months. If it's a significant project, it actually can take longer. We just need to know that we've got all of the documentation that we need, and sometimes larger projects we need to bring on board other stakeholders as well. So, but the turnaround is usually around that 4 months from the time you come in to the time you leave. Oh, sorry, really get approval. Another question is, are there going to be any more grant rounds? So at this stage, there are no plans for grant rounds, but we will in the future perhaps look at those. And the grant rounds help us to focus on a particular priority area, or also they are an opportunity where we might need to manage our budget. So it could happen at any time. We have just been through quite a significant grant round. For those of you who were involved in the last one, strengthening and adapting was huge. We had $36 million in requests against a $9 million budget. So a lot of people were disappointed, unfortunately. However, that was one way that we could manage those requests. What else can we get? Can I apply for grants across all areas within the community investment framework? Yes, you can. We do need to know exactly what is it that you're trying to meet, what is the priority that you're trying to meet and the outcome that you're trying to achieve. So it might be across a couple of programs, but the priority area might be as a main one, and then it might have a secondary impact. But we can work with you around that. You don't need to worry about what stream, because there's only one application form now, which is great. Are there infrastructure grants? This is a good one. This one always comes up. So yes, there are infrastructure, but they're not grants as such. So you need to align your project along with the community investment framework in telling us what is it that you're hoping to achieve. So the outcome could be a better place for people to meet, or a healing place. And as a result of that, you need a structure. So we'll work with you around that. It does need to align with the framework and be achieved against our priorities. The same with multiple years. Yes, you can apply for multiple years, and we just need to know that it aligns with our program. So in terms of what else? If you've applied for a previous grant and it's not been acquitted, can you apply for another one? Yes, you can. However, we will work with you around what was the previous grant, because it might be something completely different or it might be something new. But we'll work with you, or we might sometimes put a condition on that the previous grant needs to be acquitted before you can access the next grant, but we'll still go ahead and assess the next grant. So the relevant conditions, but we will work with you around that. Do you do operating costs? We usually say that the operating costs are the responsibility of an organisation. And just remember that in the PowerPoint, Lotterywest is a complementary grant funder. So we do want to see other contributions, including from the organisation if possible, and we will consider in-kind support as well. So I've also got something here around emergency relief, and I know this has come up a few times. As you're aware, Lotterywest provided considerable funds in the COVID relief fund. So as we move back to the community investment framework, we will look at emergency relief under the inclusive thriving community. So, but just be aware that it is a case-by-case scenario as we move forward. So we have provided significant what we call one-off support for emergency relief during COVID. Many of these grants to Lotterywest were quite unique and unique circumstances in how we provided that support. And we may not be doing that as we move forward into the future, but please chat to us about your particular request. So that one comes up a little bit. Will we give feedback if your project is not recommended? Yes. We will, as best as we can. I know there's a lot of people wanting feedback from the grant round. Be aware that we can give you as much as we can. The grant round had many worthy projects. However, we had insufficient funds to support them. So it was run as a competitive grant round. So certainly give us a call and we'll do the best we can to give you the feedback. I've got some more questions here. You want some more information on the application process for developing solutions and community legacy. So as I said, developing solutions and community legacy are not open at this stage. Developing solutions is something that Lotterywest will look to, and we will engage with stakeholders, but we're not quite there yet. And the community legacy is a fund that's being established so that we can have quite a significant investment of any surplus funds that we get through the sales of lottery products, and we can then invest it in a major project. But this will be decided and driven by our board, so it actually won't be open as such. So how much can I apply for in a grassroots grant? So the minimum is $3,000 and there is no limit because we will assess it based on merit, we'll assess it based on need, value for money and who else is contributing. So, you know, everybody wants $1 million, but is the project worth $1 million? And our assessors will work through that with you. You need to evidence all your costing. And will we do funding over 2 years? Yes, we can do multiple year funding. Again, you need to align it to the community investment framework. So I know there's a lot more questions. Sorry, I've got someone feeding me with lots of questions. Let me have a look. Okay. Yes, this is a good one. Does the minister always approve recommended projects? Yes. The minister, everything goes to the minister, from the $3,000 grant to the $3 million grant. They all go to the minister to be approved. And I think I'll leave that one as the last question. Thank you for your presence today. All the best with everything that you do. Please see the Connect With Us page, which will give you all of the details. If I haven't been able to address any of your questions, please email them through. We do have a team of staff through our customer service and also our assessors who can help answer some of your questions. And then when we get out and about, hopefully we can come visit as well. So have a great day and thank you for joining me.